Hi, everyone, and thanks for coming through today to listen to what I have to share with you. You might have noticed my friend Binary on the screen. Binary is here to help me share my story with you. Binary is not as camera shy as I am, so I'm going to give Binary the spotlight and I'll take the lead on voice. It always seems impossible until it's done. I'm going to share with you about BizOps in motion and how that creates change. Business is like whistling. It looks easy until you do it. This is true for both employees and business owners. So please feel free to share the ideas you learn here today about BizOps in motion so that you can help create a better tomorrow. So a little bit about myself. I am a systems analyst that came from the accounting world. I'm currently completing my postgrad in project management. I run a consulting firm to help businesses move their companies to automation and innovate their processes. I've had the privilege of working as a volunteer for the United Nations in a project where we moved a platform to Microsoft Azure. I participate in CTFs with my team Hack South, that I'm also a moderator on, and a place that I call my second home. The latest CTF I did with them was Trace Labs. I'm a big Putty fan and still always learning. I enjoy networking and blogging in my spare time. And I'm also currently involved in the GovX initiative, which is an initiative in South Africa that aims to embrace the youth to be more cyber aware. Hack South is in the top 10 and final phase of this project, and looking forward to seeing great things come of this initiative. So BizOps is a new approach to data-driven decision-making that connects your business operations and technology functions together to drive business outcomes. BizOps promises to fundamentally change the way your teams collaborate to store, analyze, and report on data. We have to start thinking like an innovator because it starts with us. I want to share with you today a little about BizOps in motion and why your business, be it a sole prop, a consulting firm, a product-based company, or corporate operation, would make use of these techniques. BizOps in motion is an agile response to innovative thinking and essentially guides people to automate processes and systems so that they can have more time to be more creative and do what they love best. So the BizOps role is to analyze performance and recommend improvement, to analyze the market. It's about agile planning and innovation. Swatting is a very big part of the BizOps role. It is to create and maintain business dashboards, which I love doing and be really fun, to produce health reports of a business and their cloud readiness, to project manage, to automate daily process across all business departments, to look at high level of business systems and procedures to find effective and efficient ways to innovate, to help departments collaborate with each other to ensure good flow within the business. So a few years ago, I was sitting in my office going through my daily pile of slips and paperwork. In the accounting field, there's a lot of paperwork and manual checking and printing and capturing. And while I was working, it dawned on me that there could be an easier way to get my reporting out much faster. And that's the day my journey began. I began using my knowledge of data to tell a story. I began to see the goals of a business and not just the outcomes needed. I took a personality test online and it said I had a hacker's mentality. And I like to find shortcuts and get the job done. Well, at least that's how I read it. I have a lot of respect for hackers and am an aspiring script kiddie myself. I think adopting this mentality of moving out of the old and into the new, finding optimization, and becoming more creative is the way of the future. The digital process automation market is worth $6.76 billion US. By 2023, this figure is set to rise to 12.61 billion US dollars. 74% of organizations say they are actively looking for new use cases for automation. Between 2017 and 2019, companies use automation for mission-critical processes, and that rose from 16% to 50%. A quarter of UK businesses are still only in the early stages of automation and keen to change this. 90% of employees are being burdened with boring and repetitive tasks, which could easily be automated. 68% of employees have suffered from work overload, in which they have too much to do on a daily basis. And 81% of workforces are anticipated to reach breaking point by 2020, which is where we're currently sitting, if they do not tap into automation to handle the volume of tasks being generated. So fast track 5 years into my search down this rabbit hole. In 2020, I decided to become certified in the thick of COVID in business systems and analysis. Needless to say, I didn't sleep for months on end. So one morning, while sitting at my home office desk around the beginning of November 2020, I started to dig a little deeper into the world of cybersecurity. I sat and Googled for about 3 hours and came across OSINT. I had to have a little chuckle to myself on how I could up my stalking skills, but I came to discover that OSINT can be used in the corporate world as well. I came across a few databases of companies that showcased their websites and went down that path. I remember thinking to myself, how are they running their business processes? Are they efficient, not only in the development and innovation, but the process innovation as well? I contacted some of my clients and had a look at their portfolios again, trying to piece together how they could become that one step better in achieving their goals, in focusing on their passion in their business and shifting their time spent on mundane processes. I incorporated my model of development and system automation to now include process automation. In tech, lingo is at the heart of the industry, but I needed to find out more for myself what systems and process automation meant for me. I came to discover that while being able to give my clients a more efficient way of doing business by using automation to do their finances and their sales, people were still at the focal point of the business. It's not just what the system can do, but the experience the users have when using the systems created. Are they excited? Are they engaged? Gamification, another apple to add to my basket of ideas. So I took systems automation and process engagement and made apple pie. Why automate the business process? The use of technology to automate business process was popularized by Henry Ford's moving assembly line in 1913. Ford's assembly line reduced the time it took to manufacture a car from more than 12 hours to 2.5 hours. Today's business process automation software and apps do the same for modern business, collapsing development and deploying processes from months to hours. Business process automation continues this legacy. It uses software and apps to simplify and speed up complicated workflows while giving you transparency and control over all parts of the process, freeing you from routine so you can focus on what matters. And so in BizOps, bridging the gap is the golden rule for every businessman is this: put yourself in your customer's shoes. Today, I deal with businesses to help bridge the gap between efficiency and innovation. My client's time is money. A few years ago, I asked my daughter what she wanted for her birthday. She asked me if I could buy her more time, and this hit home for me. I've adopted this principle in my work, where I now tell my clients that my service in consulting and innovation is giving them just that, more time. Taking risks is being open to people and ideas. Business is about risk-taking and incorporating innovation through change, how we do daily tasks, and that is a risk worth taking. It's the feeling of truly enjoying your life and the desire to make the very best of it. Happiness is the secret sauce that can help us be and do our best. And here's what researchers found when they studied happy people. Happy people are more successful. In BizOps, we aim to align departments, technology, and people. The barriers to success with automation is not only systems, but processes, and they are the key to happier working environments and more cash inflow. A modern and dynamic growth requires change. It also requires vision and is indeed an art form of engineering. I enjoy what I do and take pride in the companies I help. The one story I'd like to share with you is about a company that came to me asking for innovation. They were laying out a couple 10,000 each month on 7 systems, and they were getting rather annoyed with having to remember logins to every platform and sending their clients running around between them. They also kept losing track of their slips in their pockets after a long day of work and forgetting to take them out. So I took on the project and we took their system from a legacy mindset into automation. They now don't even need to keep their slips or worry about reconciliation, as they just have to take a picture of the expense and it gets recorded in the system's database, pushed through to approval with the line manager, and reconciled automatically at month end. The accountant now only has to check it once to make sure everything is in order, and the process cycle is complete for the month. The company now not only has an efficient system, but are today officially paperless and sustainable. They use the stats from the system dashboard to promote specials that are actually making more sales. The marketing team now has fun creating gifts and presentations and not looking for answers in hidden meaningless data, but data that actually tells a story. They saved just over half the money they used to spend and were able to give increases to their staff. The biggest challenge for me is changing the mindset. I like to tell the story of stepping back and looking at the company as a whole and how everyone can succeed together and optimize all areas. We need to be in the mindset of forever a student. Being open to learning will give people and companies the tools and power to succeed. I found this out when I started learning Python. I was so out of my comfort zone, but diving deeper into it, I now get excited when I discover more SQL and Python presentation templates and the ideas. Streamlining the entire business model and researching my clients where they are was the best thing I ever did. Now, when I take on new clients, I aim to understand where they are, where they envision themselves in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. I want to grow with them on their journey and not just give a system or an automation. In South Africa, we have a saying, Ubuntu. It means a person is a person because of other people. It means it takes an agile approach to change and innovation. It's not just about making money and innovating the business to be ahead in the game and move into the 4th industrial revolution, but actually being a part of each and every one of those journeys. It's about seeing the users of the system moving into creating rather than duplicating documents. It's about giving an experience, not a process. It's about connecting people and helping businesses focus on their customers via the stories they tell in their data. It's about reaching and touching the lives of employees in every department in the company so their voices are heard, because I believe employees are the company's biggest asset. It's about having fun and bringing data to life. It's about staying agile, innovative, and real. That to me is BizOps in motion. So I want to thank you for your time and a big thank you to the team for this amazing opportunity. And please feel free to reach out to me for a chat or to connect or for any questions you might have.
Awesome. I'm checking the various feeds to see if we've had some questions trickle in. I do have one for you personally. Imagine, so you have these pipelines that you're setting up, your automation. Can you easily integrate various security processes into these automation pipelines?
Yeah, definitely. So once the systems are set, that is the next step to secure the systems.
Okay. And is that something, and if you don't feel comfortable telling us this, is that something that companies ask of you regularly, or is that something that companies go like, okay, we're going for automation, security is coming on later?
Yeah, so I think pen testing is definitely a very big deal in the industry, and it's something that has to be done as the final leg, and then to continue that process throughout the life of the system. So I've only started in pen testing myself, so I would usually hand that over to somebody else, but now I am getting into that myself, and it's really, really exciting.
Yeah. Do you have any resources relating to getting into automation? Because I mean, you did you did a degree where you learned a lot of things, and then you got a ton of stuff from experience. But are there any resources you would recommend to get into this?
Definitely, I can share them after the presentation.
Sure thing. We also got a question trickle in from the YouTube. What are some of the issues businesses face when first deciding to use automation?
That's a good question. I think the first thing that comes to mind is change of mind. So a lot of it is very new, and say a company has been doing the same thing for years, like take the slips, for example. They would have to then change their mindset to allow for automation to take those processes and do it for them. And that's a trust issue. And so it's guiding people through that. And once it has a flow and emotion, then from there it's pretty easy.
Awesome. And then automation can often lead to accountability. How do you encourage employers and employees to adopt a new process?
I think it's hitting home for them to say, you're spending so much time doing X, Y, and Z, when that shouldn't be your job. Your job should be to create something new, or to say for a marketing team, to use the data to innovate with it, and not to, in that department, perhaps do reports. So encouraging them would be to make them aware of where they could be heading towards.
Definitely. We've had a question cycling back to automation. So there's a lot of standards out there in the world of tech, most typically ISO 27001. Does BizOps, in your experience, cater to these standards, or is it more of an ad hoc approach?
I think because it's so agile in nature, incorporating the many different forms that play into business in particular, we would assess the business or the company and see what they would need and what certifications they would have to comply to, and then go from there. So it's definitely about taking many different aspects and putting it all into the basket. And it is agile, and so it happens. It's a continuous process throughout the life of the system.
Fantastic. So I'm not entirely certain if this is a joke question, but what one of our sponsors has expressed interest in contacting you, so you should communicate your schedule to them, if you would.
Great.
I'll send you a DM later.
Thanks.
Well,
Thank you so much for your presentation. That was fantastic. There was a lot of great feedback in the comments of the YouTube section saying how much they loved it. So thank you for your time and doing this for us.
yeah.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Yep.
And we'll be back in 10 minutes with our next talk. See you then.